It's Sam again. I thought a good topic for conversation today could be what is a safe or healthy person, and I'm bringing up this topic because I have come up with some rules / guidelines for myself when meeting new people, because I am an introvert in an extrovert's body, so I love to socialize with people, but I am very guarded and suspicious with other people, so I'm kind of like a walking contradiction. So the 5 rules or so that I've come up for myself have personally worked for me, and I've kind of gone into 2 spectrums where I have totally isolated myself and come into this hermit shell / falling out of a window tactic, where basically I trust everyone and, you know, end up losing trust in all humanity. So these are the tools that I use to helping me know what a safe person is. So now when I meet a person, I can actually tell if they are a healthy person or not. So there are safe and healthy people on this planet. We are just very far in between because people have lacked what connection is. And connection is basically seeing into another person, their viewpoints, and taking them into yourself, so that you are going to naturally know what they're going to like or dislike, and really being in tune with how they feel and such. So there have been a lot of issues with people connecting because people have really detached themselves from other people and their emotions entirely, so they won't be able to feel how they're feeling, so they won't be able to feel how other people are feeling. So the first rule that I have for myself is I do not associate people who do not respect my boundaries. So I've come into a lot of issues with I am happily married, and I have still come into issues with people that have not respected my marriage. They make sexual advances towards me or my wife, and that is obviously not a safe person. So obviously I don't associate with those people. Number 2, I don't associate with people that have very big addictions. There's difference between addiction and a coping mechanism. So coping mechanisms are typically how you start off by managing stress, like you are aware of all of your feelings, but addiction is where basically you have an emotional transaction. Say somebody is addicted to alcohol or has an addiction to pornography. So basically what they're doing is they're isolating themselves to only feeling a certain type of emotion. So a healthy person is going to be open to experiencing all emotions and therefore accepting them, whereas I feel like this is an unhealthy person, obviously, because then they're not going to be in tune with other people, and they're going to be more likely to cross a boundary if they are in an addiction. Also, people with an addiction are more likely to be abusive because they don't like themselves and they're abusing themselves, so therefore they're going to be abusive with other people. The third rule that I have for myself when meeting new people and a safe and healthy person is they have to like animals, or they don't have to have pets, but they have to have a respect for animals in general. They don't have to be vegan, they don't have to be vegetarian, they just have to have a respect for them. And I actually came across this rule for myself because I've actually come across a couple of people who don't like animals, and for me that is important, because if you don't like animals, or you think that they don't have a purpose on this life, then basically what you're saying is you're not really connected to all beings. And I feel like that's super important when it comes to friendships and safe people, is in order to be connected, you can't just be connected to just, you know, people that are like you. You have to be willing to open yourself up to new ideas and new inspirations, and not just be subject to one thing. So that's a personal rule for myself that I use when coming across people that might be safe people. The 4th rule that I have, let's see, we're on the 4th rule, is I do not associate with, or I feel like an unsafe person is somebody that really doesn't respect your boundaries. So unsafe people will come across as very defensive. When you are in a relationship or a friendship, or have even acquaintance and you come to them and say, hey, this is really bothersome to me, and they apologize for it, but they don't change their actions, that is not a safe person, because therefore they're not respecting your feelings, they're not respecting what you want, and so essentially they're not a healthy person for you. It doesn't, now when I say a safe person, I don't necessarily mean they are a bad person. It just means that they are not open to emotionally be your friend. So I'm not saying that they're horrible people. So the fifth rule that I have for myself when meeting new people is, obviously we have to have things in common, but I personally don't hang out or try to associate with people that comment on my physical appearance like the very first thing, because, and I know that sounds kind of like weird to people, but I don't associate with people like that because, one, I feel like for personal reasons I feel very threatened when somebody, it's different when somebody says, oh, I like your dress, but if I first meet somebody and they say, oh my god, you're so beautiful, or they comment on like a physical appearance, I feel that they are micro-judging, and that's just like a personal rule for myself that I have used that has really helped me along my journey. So I don't associate with people that comment on my physical appearance, like when first getting to know them. I know that might not work for a lot of people, but for me it has really, really worked. And when I was first working on trying to find my soulmate and dating and all that, that's a technique that I definitely use. And luckily my beautiful wife did not say anything about my appearance, so I'm super excited about that. And so those are just the 5 rules that I use when meeting new people to see if I am going to be a friend or I'm going to keep them at a distance. But basically, there are very rare occasions where people are safe all around. Like, someone could be safe with your money, but they're not necessarily safe with your feelings, if you get what I mean. So especially somebody that's a really nice person, it's really hard for me to just cut off somebody altogether, but we all have the capability to do that. And to keep my sanity and my self-worth, I really need to set boundaries for people. So that's just some rules that I use for myself. And I also use a lot of self-trust techniques. I can save that for another video, but I do a lot of self-trust techniques because I feel like if you are in an environment that is unsafe, if you trust yourself enough, you will be safe. What I mean by that is, obviously don't put yourself in an abusive relationship or an abusive situation, but don't assume that just because someone is an unsafe person means that you are unsafe. A lot of times people view other people as unsafe because they don't trust themselves. So a lot of techniques that I use for self-trust techniques I use for myself is making myself a priority, voicing my opinion, trusting all of my decisions is a really big one. Making sure that this is the direction that I want to go in. Be careful who I take advice from, that type of thing. Really centering myself and being grounded with myself. Another thing that I do is I take time to do things that I am good at. So I do this because obviously I love to do it, but because I have that sense of ease. So when people don't trust themselves, they kind of forget what that ease in their body feels like. It's similar to having that flow of motion, or being very centered and calm. So I feel like for people that have a hard time trusting themselves, do things that you're really good at. If you're really good at making art, start doing art. If you're really good at cooking, continue cooking. Do things that are really good, what you're really good at, and then within that realm of what you're good at, say you're really good at baking, but you would like to challenge yourself or take a risk of cooking a meal instead of baking, and try something like that. Or as if you're a really good artist and you're really good at using pastels or crayons, and you want to take a risk of using charcoal instead of, you know, pastels, paints, it would really help, you know, taking that risk in your own comfort zone so that you can realize that you can trust yourself even when you're taking risks. So this was just a quick video that I decided to do, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I would love to hear your opinion on what a healthy or safe person is. Thank you so much for watching, and have a beautiful day. Bye.